I'm going with the 100 dudes today from Chicago.
I don't even understand this. 100 men fighting a gorilla? Well, it depends on the men.
It depends on. I was about to say, is it 100 men?
If it's 100
Stephen
men,
A. or Shannon's?
Each one of us up by one hand and do us tossing down.
They must never watch King Kong, the movie.
Today we tackle a question taking the internet by storm. Who would win a fight? 100 men or one gorilla? Gotta admit, I never imagined I'd be a ringside physician at an interspecies match of this magnitude. But here on Dr. Chris, we strive to turn every topic, no matter how obscure, into an opportunity to deepen our knowledge about human anatomy and injury science.
Gorillas are made mainly to aurifarm each other and eat berries, okay? That's why they run away from ducks.
So, here we are. And as we've seen many times before, what better way to study the human body than under extreme physical distress? And no matter the final outcome, I can all but guarantee the first 10 or so men to attack Mr. Gorilla are going to experience just that. Blunt force trauma as he swings his arms violently, penetrating trauma as he engages his powerful jaws and large canine teeth, appendages torn and tissues ruptured as he grabs, pulls, and throws human attackers like rag dolls. There are many ways to spell fatality, as conservationist Ron McGill of Zoo Miami points out. Death from broken necks, severe arterial bite wounds, massive concussions leading to fatal brain bleeds, and asphyxiation from men piling on top. Sounds like we've got a lot of ground to cover. Thankfully, gorillas are quite passive, as many experts have pointed out since the debate began.
The greatest trick Hollywood ever pulled was convincing the world that gorillas were something to be scared of.
Let's get the truth from our own expert, Ron McGill, the communications director at Zoo Miami. Ron, great to see you as always. Who would win in a fight, Ron? 100 men or one gorilla?
To the point where violent human versus gorilla encounters are few and far between. I'm sure we can find some examples on Reddit. The victim surprised a family of gorillas resting in an open space. The man was immediately attacked by a large male, and when his corpse was found later on, it was minus a head and neck, which were laying nearby. Okay, so Mortal Kombat? I mean, the force required to decapitate a man by pulling would be immense. Soft tissues like skin and muscle tear first until only the cervical spine and its supporting connective tissues remain. If the head and neck were removed as per this account, the failure likely occurred around the C7 vertebrae where the cervical spine transitions into the thoracic spine at the base of the neck. Wave goodbye to the anterior and posterior longitudinal ligaments which run the length of the spine, as well as the interspinous and supraspinous ligaments at the location of the decapitation. But wait a damn minute. Unfortunately, I was unable to find any evidence that confirms or denies this story, nor was I able to find any stories comparable in sheer brutality. Those of you on Team Gorilla may have to kiss that image of 100 headless attackers goodbye. Turns out the internet is running low in the gorilla attacks on humans department, but there are a few more which may serve to deepen our understanding. An escaped gorilla shaking a 3-year-old boy in his mouth like a rag doll, puncturing a lung and biting the boy's head. While the little man may need to have his chest aspirated with a tube and needle, such as with a needle decompression or with a chest tube, this attack was not fatal. Another escapee in a Netherlands zoo attacked a 57-year-old woman, dragging her around for tens of meters and inflicting bone fractures as well as more than 100 bite wounds. While recovering in the hospital, the woman quoted, "He gripped me, sat on me with his full weight, and began biting me." Generally, it's about 4 stitches to an inch, and depending on the depth of the wound, we may need multiple layers of stitches to address the subcutaneous, subcuticular, and epidermal layers of tissue. 100 or so wounds of say 3 to 4 inches, all varying in depth, means our Dutch woman could easily have had over 1,000 stitches. A modern Frankenstein, if you will. Gruesome, but yet again, not fatal. Coincidentally, these two stories, which I pulled from conventional media sources, are consistent with those that I could find in scientific literature. One such article from 2023 details an open fracture of the right distal radial ulnar joint, the two bones of the lower arm, in addition to multiple bite wounds. The victim can look forward to an armful of surgical hardware, but he will live to see another day. The final article I would like to discuss today takes us back some 60 years and details several different attacks. Let me know if you sense a pattern. None of these attacks were fatal.
At one point, someone yelled, "Form a circle." He spun through us like a Beyblade.
And while one of the wounded was permanently disabled in one leg, I'm not sensing any one-shot KOs a la Chuck Liddell. In fact, it sounds like the usual weapons of the gorilla are his mouth and hands, with which he causes lacerations in the legs, thighs, and buttocks, unless the victim tries to ward off the animal with his hands. So obviously, as the ringside physician for the internet's most anticipated 100v1 deathmatch, I better be prepared for some vicious bite wounds. I'll have plenty of tourniquets on hand to staunch the bleeding, and a mountain of gauze and sterile bandage to pack and dress wounds. Sutures will have to wait. Not only do I expect deep wounds with ragged edges, but we'll need sterile saline solution for cleaning as well as antibiotics to fend off infection before we even think about wound closure. Who knows when Mr. Gorilla last brushed his teeth? But no matter how rancid his breath, I'm confident that I could sufficiently treat the majority of bite wounds on site to set up victims for an effective recovery. Unless, of course, a major artery is involved, like say the femoral artery in the legs or brachial artery in the upper arm, then time really is of the essence. Worst of all, we have the carotid arteries to worry about, which run down either side of the neck, relatively close to the surface of the skin. If punctured or torn, the victim would lose consciousness in less than a minute, as blood flow to the brain is drastically reduced. Death can occur within 2 to 5 minutes due to severe blood loss and cerebral hypoxia. I mean, hopefully our combatants can avoid bite wounds to the neck altogether.
Okay, so first we're gonna have to pick somebody from the group to go first to get a feel for the gorilla's skill set. It's gonna have to be someone we all don't really like.
Even if their arteries remain intact, a vicious bite to the back of the neck could easily cause a fracture to the cervical spine, disrupting, dissecting, or even severing the spinal cord housed within the spinal column. Depending on their severity, these injuries have the potential to cause paralysis to all structures below them. That is to say, the whole body. Or, on the other side of the neck, on the flip side, we have crushed airways to consider.
Go get him, King. Go represent humanity. Come get some of this monkey boy. You ain't about.
Can't contribute much to the fight without the ability to breathe, bro. But hold on. Grabbing a person or holding them down long enough to deliver a fatal bite seems like too large a time commitment. In the context of a 100 versus 1 fight to the death, even fractions of a second count. This tactic also requires one, or possibly two, of the gorilla's arms as well as their mouth, creating an opening for the human swarm to attack. But swift, decisive victory is no fun. We might need a caveat in this equation that Mr. Gorilla gets a 3-month training camp with Chuck Liddell. For maximum carnage, he may want to adopt a keep moving, pace yourself, and go for haymakers fighting style. You see, a gorilla's bones are thicker and heavier, while their muscles are stronger and more dense than humans. They have all the tools to crush us, like quite literally. Think about it. A human bone derives its strength from its structural design, including the compact outer layer, or the cortex, and the spongy inner layer, trabecular bone. A gorilla boasts a more robust cortex and a more dense trabecular bone, having adapted to suit their massive size and weight. Their bones are reinforced with further calcification, you know, the chemical property that enables bones to become more rigid and resistant to stress. Just imagine getting whacked by a 2x4. Hell, punching a gorilla in the arm, leg, or ribs might be more likely to fracture your hand or arm than to injure the gorilla. Our combatants should probably aim for the soft spots. No one likes punching a tree trunk. And you don't even want to see our musculature in a side-by-side comparison. In mammals, a muscle is essentially a biological machine that converts chemical energy into mechanical energy, allowing for movement, support, and stability. Muscles are composed of individual fibers that contract contract and relax, generating force and motion. Turns out that apes, just like humans, have two types of muscle fibers: fast twitch and slow twitch. Fast twitch muscle fibers generate rapid, powerful movements for short durations, while slow twitch fibers are more efficient for endurance activities, providing sustained force over longer periods.
Between 4 to 7 men of that size, easily. You know, they have fast twitch muscles. Listen, I've seen a gorilla take a coconut in his hand and break it. I've seen him take a 300-pound boulder and flip it like it's made out of styrofoam.
Which do you think is more effective in this type of battle? I mean, as they say, speed kills. Human muscles are about half and half, which is why professional fighters spend so much time training their fast twitch fibers to maximize deadliness in the ring. Compared to humans, apes all have more fast twitch than slow. But gorilla muscles are an incredible 85+% fast twitch fibers, the most of any ape. Hate to add insult to injury, but it just so happens that gorillas have more fibers per square inch, and each of those individual fibers are heavier and more dense. In layman's terms, what I'm saying is, don't get hit, bro. It isn't an exaggeration to say that this is a 450-pound tank swinging the equivalent of 2 tree trunks. While there is no evidence to suggest that Mr. Gorilla knows how to fight in this manner, I want to give him the benefit of the doubt. Like I said, 3-month training camp with the Iceman Chuck Liddell makes this battle far more interesting. Blunt force trauma is Mr. Gorilla's best friend. A direct blow to the head could easily be catastrophic, causing severe traumatic brain injuries, including concussions, skull fractures, and bleeding within the brain. We're talking immediate loss of consciousness, brain damage, and yes, potentially even death. The impact would be equivalent to a high-speed collision with severe consequences due to the brain's delicate structure and vital functions. Of course, similar forces applied to the neck are also a very bad deal. Even if a human attacker were to sustain a gorilla slap to the side of the face, the rotational force applied to the cervical spine could potentially cause spinal cord damage, vertebral fractures, or severe ligament disruption, leading to quadriplegia or other devastating outcomes. A direct blow to the neck? Same risks, but worse. And don't think for a second that blood vessels are safe when penetrating forces aren't involved. A powerful impact can still sever arteries and veins. And don't forget the prospect of a crushed windpipe. A powerful blow to the chest can easily disrupt the heart and or lungs, causing cardiac arrest, severe internal bleeding, or pneumothorax, collapsed lung, leading to rapid deterioration and potentially fatal outcomes if not treated immediately. Not even the upper abdomen is safe. I'm particularly concerned for the region over the liver and spleen. A forceful blow to this area could cause these vital organs to rupture, leading to severe internal bleeding, shock, and potentially fatal complications if not treated properly. Each of these factors could extinguish a fighter's flame, so to speak. But there are plenty of other factors that could render a human useless in battle. Kinda hard to fight with a broken femur or a torn Achilles, for example. But I'll spare you the extensive lecture on broken bones and torn ligaments. We have other more pressing matters to consider. How tired do you think you'd be after punching 100 watermelons? Backhanding 100 squirrels? Slamming 100 medicine balls? Hell, even climbing 100 stairs?
Now after the gorilla deals with these 20 people, he's gonna be a little winded, and that's when the next 30 people come in.
Is anyone picking up what I'm putting down?
And the fact that humans could hopefully coordinate their behavior, tag team, take a little bit of a rest, while the gorilla would just be going full steam the whole time, would really put the advantage in for the humans.
Remember how heavily Mr. Gorilla leans in the fast twitch musculature direction? Thing is, fast twitch muscles need fuel quickly, so they rely on carbohydrates stored in the muscles for anaerobic, meaning no oxygen, rather than aerobic, requiring oxygen, for energy production. This type of fuel is metabolized quickly, but in limited amounts, which is why your fast twitch muscles tire out more quickly.
They gotta be the strongest men we have. So it's gonna be John Jones, LeBron James, Jeff Hardy, and me. 100
angry humans on the attack aren't going to let Mr. Gorilla take a breather. There is no saved by the bell in this equation. Inevitably, they will surround their King Kong foe, and swinging for the fences will no longer be possible. When this occurs, Mr. Gorilla may want to take out a page of the chimpanzee's playbook. It is well documented that during attacks, chimps will target a person's face, hands, feet, and genitals.
Big primates will actually go at each other's genitalia. That's actually a strategy that they have when they fight each other.
A quick Google search confirms that a face transplant is a frighteningly common procedure following a chimpanzee attack. I mean, yeah. Aside from torn arteries, broken long bones, and blows to the head, there are several structures on the human body that can render an attacker far less effective. It's kind of hard to fight if your eyes have been shredded, or if your family jewels have been ripped clean off. Once Mr. Gorilla is at the center of a 100-man clinch, he'll want to target the soft, squishy bits.
What are you saying? You keep bringing up sucking off the gorilla, and I don't. Someone has to suck off the gorilla. You serious right now?
We go for the gorilla's weak points, so the eyes, the neck, and the...
But let's not forget, Mr. Gorilla also has some soft, squishy bits of his own that are susceptible to ripping and tearing.
I'm sorry, but we're going to start wearing down the gorilla, and you guys aren't going to like how I say we're going to do that, but we're going for the dick, balls, and the ass.
But let's keep our heads out of the gutter, shall we? I'm thinking more about the eyes here. Once Mr. G's vision is sufficiently impaired, his energy expenditure becomes far less effective, leaving only those humans within his grasp at risk of fatality.
Okay, by the third group, I expect the gorilla's eyeballs to already be gouged out. If the first two groups can't manage that, yeah, we're fucked. But that's their goal. Get in there, get a thumb in, do your best.
With some 98.3% genetic match, squishy eyeballs aren't the only anatomical weakness we share with apes.
If by the third group of 15 or 20, the gorilla still has eyeballs, I'm changing strategies.
In humans, the abdomen is relatively less protected by bones compared to the chest or skull, because its contents, like intestines and organs, are designed to expand, contract, and to move. A bony shield would restrict these functions. Same goes for Mr. Rilla. Doesn't matter if your bones are stronger, if your liver, spleen, kidneys, intestines require flexibility and mobility to function properly. In an interview with Rolling Stone, conservationist Ron McGill points out that severe abdominal punches could cause enough internal organ damage to slow down the gorilla. Furthermore, with sufficient teamwork, the human swarm could also cause severe twisting of the head and neck.
Yeah, but you want to know what he lacks that we have? The indomitable human spirit.
Foiled again by that darn 98.3%. Just like in humans, the neck is particularly vulnerable due to its structure and function. Comprised of 7 cervical vertebrae, the neck allows for a wide range of motion, but this flexibility comes at the cost of stability and strength. And Mr. G can only throw so many humans off his back before he really starts to slow down. Broken neck? Here we come.
And I mean, this is really the uncomfortable conversation we've been kind of avoiding, because at the end of the day, a gorilla is a beautiful living creature. It doesn't deserve this, but I mean, it's a dog-eat-dog world, baby, and humans are on top.
For all these reasons and everything we've covered in today's lessons, I'm thinking I'm leaning in the direction of the humans.
3 groups, 3 guys each, dick, balls, and ass. You know what we're doing. He's not gonna like it, but you've got to play dirty. This is a gorilla. I can guarantee you he hasn't been playing clean with us.
I just don't want to be in the first wave of attackers, though.
Now, while Brave Bobby here goes up by himself first, me, Bobby? As a decoy solo dolo, as soon as the gorilla starts brutally massacring Bobby, what do we do?
Even if we go the extra mile and take fatigue out of the equation, perhaps Mr. Gorilla has some slow-release adrenaline capsule that keeps his energy up for hours on end. He still has to breathe. What if the first 20 humans all attempt to shove an arm directly down his throat, packing Mr. Gorilla's trachea with chunks of finger and flesh? Gruesome, I know, but this battle deserves our most thorough contemplation. Block the windpipe, and his large muscles and vital organs can no longer get the oxygen necessary for their continued function. No matter how you slice it, it's not looking good for Mr. Rilla.
And maybe I switch sides. A guy, a gorilla versus 99 dudes.
Now, were this battle to happen in a long, narrow hallway where only 1 or 2 humans can approach at a time, that could be a different story.
Give them nothing, but take from them everything.
What did you think was going to happen? Literally, what did you think was going to
But in an open space where swarming is possible, I've got to side with the humans. Now, I'm not saying for a second that some people are not going to get absolutely royally jacked up. But even despite the sheer ferocity of the gorilla, we're talking about a numbers game here. At 100 to 1, the odds are just too uneven and too much in the human's favor. I suppose the more accurate question might be, how many human lives does it take to subdue a gorilla? What do you think? Are you team human or team gorilla? Thanks for joining me on this whimsical discussion about the epic showdown between a gorilla and 100 humans. If you have an interest in human anatomy and injury science, subscribe and hit that notification bell to see more content on health, human anatomy, and injury prevention. Here on the channel, we're working towards a goal of 1 million subs, and we would appreciate if you could help us to get there. Don't forget to follow my gym, Human 2.0 Fitness, for free right here on YouTube, where we post content that helps you move better and prevent injury. Or its sister channel, Human at Home, where we show you how to be healthy in the space where you live. Otherwise, as always, that's been a word from Dr. Chris, not your everyday ortho, where we see one, do one, teach one.